Hello and welcome to Stop and Go F1 now with the promised much shorter hair. And it is time to have a look at what has been a very exciting Friday qualifying session in Azerbaijan. Now, before we do get into qualifying though, firstly make sure you subscribe, that's the rules. But secondly, we're going to go to Upgrade Corner because there have been quite some considerable upgrades for some of the teams here, as you may suspect. Don't know what happened there. As you may suspect, after 4 weeks off. Now, let's start with McLaren. Now, we knew these upgrades were coming. They brought a brand new floor, and it looked like new side pod designs, but I can't actually see that confirmed anywhere, so let's just go with new floor for now. Alpine had a new floor and a new front wing. Mercedes brought a new diffuser, rear wing and front suspension. Red Bull had a new floor and Ferrari had a new rear wing. So that's Upgrade Corner done and out of the way. A quick recap of practice from this morning. For those of you who missed it, big talking point, Pierre Gasly, whose car set on fire. Unbelievable. He was just driving along, his car set on fire, there was smoke coming out the back, it took the commentators a while to notice there was smoke coming out the back, and then he just slowly made his way around the track with a car that was on fire. He got halfway around the track before he decided to stop, which, is the clever thing to do, and he got out of the car. Apparently it was a hydraulic fluid leak that hit the engine and just ignited. Alpine then feared that Ocon might have the similar issue if he was sent out, so they didn't send him out either. So neither of the Alpine cars really got that much time into the first and only practice session. I think it was about 15 minutes when this happened. So neither Alpine really could set up their car properly for this weekend, which we may see as we go throughout the rest of the results. But now it is time for qualifying. And the first big thing that happened in qualifying was Nick de Vries into the wall. It was turn 3, is it? Yes, you go first, come on, turn 3. There's a long straight, and then there's a 90-degree turn. Big lock-up, yes, right into the wall. Red flag from that. During the red flag, it came kind of clear what the main story at the front of the pack was going to be, because Max Verstappen and Charles Leclerc had put in some incredible times and were first and second place at this point, and they were 0.761 ahead of everyone else. They were kind of just in a league of their own at this point in the qualifying session. McLaren, though, are a big story from qualifying today because they are looking a lot stronger. This is the car that they are saying should have really been here at Baku. This is the car with all the fixed issues that they had. McLaren looking good throughout today's session. At one point, Max was noted for being released in an unsafe condition due to his headrest being loose, but they decided that there was no further investigation needed for that. We restart qualifying, and then Gasly crashed. It was in the exact same place as De Vries, and basically was the exact same thing. Locked up going into turn 3. He was able to complete more of turn 3 than De Vries did, but hit the side. The rear wing was completely destroyed, and he stopped on track. Red flag. After the red flag, they go again. Not much time left. Magnussen had to retire the car due to an issue. Apparently there was just an issue that had been plaguing him all day, but he had to retire the car. Then times just started tumbling throughout the Q1 session. But eventually, the people who were out were Nick de Vries, Pierre Gasly, Kevin Magnussen. Then it was Nico Hülkenberg, who was in 17th, and poor Zhou Guan Yu out P16, just 0.020 off of Esteban Ocon. That was the gap that forced him out in Q1. Very upsetting for him. But the big stories of the guys who went through, as I said, McLaren were looking very strong. Lando Norris was P7, Oscar Piastri P12. Leclerc topped the session. And actually, let's talk about Williams, because they look good as well. Alex Albon was P8, Logan Sargent P11. Going into Q2 now, and McLaren fans may have had a little bit of a worry because 6 minutes to go in the session, and Lando Norris had not set a time, but there didn't seem to be any issue. I didn't hear anything of any issues, and when he went out for his first lap, he did put it P7, so still looking good there. Alex Albon was on a very quick lap, but appeared to be a little bit blocked by Carlos Sainz going into, I believe it was turn 4 or turn 5. Sainz just didn't get out of the way going into the corner, and I think it put Albon off a bit. He had a bit of a slide as he went past him, lost time there. But the big story of Q2 was that George Russell is out. P11 for George Russell. The remainders are Ocon in P12, Albon 13th, Bottas 14th, and Logan Sargent 15th. Albon looking really good though. I think the Williams is looking good here. He is definitely one to watch throughout the remainder of the weekend. Ocon, as we said, Alpine not able to put any real practice sessions in to determine anything. Did not look good here. Gasly, of course, crashing. That doesn't look good. But Ocon as well, only able for P12. But Mercedes, wow, they did not look good either. Especially in Q2. They look better in Q3. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But it was Hamilton 10th, Russell 11th. And then both of them gave up on their final lap. There was, if like Ocon or Albon could have set a better time, we would be sat here talking about two Mercedes going out in Q2. I can't even remember the last time that happened. They're not looking good for straight line speed. They're not looking good here at all. This is only the first session. They've got another qualifying and 2 races to go this weekend. So hopefully they'll be able to get something from here. I imagine they'll be walking away with points, but I don't see them challenging for the podium or maybe even the top 5 as we carry on. Q3, Max was the fastest in Q2. Charles Leclerc fastest in Q1. We are setting up for this big story here. Q3, who's it going to be? Pole position, Verstappen versus Leclerc. On their first tries, they set identical lap times. 0.000 separated first and second place. Max would get first place as he set a lap time first. But man, what a story this was throughout the qualifying session of these two just going at it here. Lance Stroll had a DRS issue, so he wasn't particularly competitive. And as we go on to the final laps for everyone here, the 2-man battle between Leclerc and Verstappen turns into a 3-man battle as Sergio Perez invites himself to the party by getting purple sector in Sector 1. Eventually, though, it would be Charles Leclerc who got pole position for Ferrari. Ferrari's first pole position of the season. They're still looking for their first podium of the season. Could they get their first win of the season this weekend? It's looking really good for Ferrari at the minute. Let's talk about Perez quickly. He finished third. He got purple sector for Sector 1 and Sector 3, but a slow Sector 2 denied him pole position and denied him improving, but he's looking good here. He's looking good. Let's go through the top 10. 10th was Piastri, then it was 9th for Stroll with his DRS issue, 8th Yuki Tsunoda, 7th Lando Norris, Alonso was in 6th, Lewis Hamilton 5th, Carlos Sainz 4th, 3rd for Perez, 2nd for Verstappen, and of course pole position Charles Leclerc. Now this is looking very interesting for the rest of the weekend. Now of course this sets the grid for Sunday. Between now and Sunday, we've got an entirely different qualifying session and an entirely different race. So it's going to be a while till we see how this grid pans out. But it'll be interesting to see tomorrow how different that qualifying grid is from this one. But yeah, the big star today, Charles Leclerc. Fantastic job from him, really good. Verstappen, not far off his heels, and Perez is in the mix there too. Of course, Sainz in 4th. He's not really looking like he's on the pace of the other guys, but who knows what he can do. Alonso versus Hamilton could be very interesting here because it looks like Alonso is quicker. Despite qualifying lower in Q3, I feel Alonso has been the quicker guy here, and the Mercedes is struggling. McLaren, there's the big story there. Is it just qualifying pace? Is it rate pace? There's so much going into this weekend. It's really exciting. I thought both the practice session this morning and the qualifying session have been really good. So let me know in the comments who's going to be on pole tomorrow? Will we see someone different when we have the sprint shootout? That is exciting. So that's all we got time for today. I feel I'm repeating myself a little bit too much when it comes to all this, but I'll be back tomorrow to discuss all things sprint. Yes, Sprinty Saturday. Oh my, I can't wait. See you then. Goodbye.